Sawadee krap. My name is Imtiaz Muqbil. I am the executive editor of Travel Impact Newswire. I have been covering the Asia Pacific travel and tourism industry since 1981. My detailed notes, research, reports, and columns over the last 40 years are now being compiled into an unmatched history of travel and tourism, which I am sharing free publicly so that future generations may learn the lessons of history, replicate our past successes, and avoid repeating past mistakes. Like birthdays and national days, anniversaries are occasions to both rejoice and reflect. In 2020, when the COVID-19 crisis was still in its early days, there was a lot of bluster about how it could be converted into an opportunity to create a new normal and build back better. In 2020, as a recovery seems to be on the horizon, 11 significant anniversaries will open windows of opportunity for the travel and tourism industry to do just that by reflecting on its past, present, and future. Each of the anniversaries to be flagged in this lecture have influenced and/or impacted the Thai, ASEAN, Asian, and global tourism in some shape or form. I will reflect on them simply by raising questions about their future significance. Asking awkward questions has always been my forte as a journalist. Today, I am challenging those in authority with the decision-making power to ask themselves the same questions and try to answer them should they see some value for their constituents. It is my fervent hope that these questions will set in motion an honest, truthful, and realistic discussion about the post-COVID future of Thai, ASEAN, Asian, and global tourism. 30 years ago, the Earth Summit was held in Rio de Janeiro. The need to mitigate the environmental impact of economic development was already on the agenda 3 decades ago. So today, why are we still discussing the same old things? Have the lofty goals and agreements of that summit produced any results? Why is there no stock-taking in industry forums about the real environmental cost of pre-COVID tourism? Why are there no honest and reliable measurement indicators of how much damage mass tourism did to the global environment? The UN ESCAP will celebrate its 75th anniversary in March 2022. Based in Bangkok, ESCAP has played a major role in shaping regional cooperation. It had a very active tourism unit, which was at the forefront of promoting tourism as a means of poverty alleviation, manpower development, and sustainability, covering the entire geographical turf from Iran to the South Pacific Islands. In 2009, as tourism was booming worldwide, this unit was shut down, significantly setting back the course of tourism management and development. No public announcement was made and no explanation given. Why did this happen? Why was nothing done to stop it? The Association of Southeast Asian Nations was founded in 1967, originally as a political bloc to defend the region against the onslaught of communism. It then changed into an economic bloc and then doubled in size after the inclusion of Brunei Darussalam and the Indochina countries. The core objective is the unity and integration of the region under the slogan, "One Vision, One Identity, One Community." Is that anywhere near being achieved today? Although the countries are linked by extensive transportation and economic linkages, what do the peoples of ASEAN really know about each other's history, culture, heritage, and language? In Europe, the citizens of individual countries still feel European while retaining their own individual national identity. Does a similar sense of identity and community exist at all within ASEAN? Visit ASEAN Year 1992 was held to mark the 25th anniversary of ASEAN. The grouping then had 6 country members. In the following years, it expanded to include Myanmar, Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia. Although that strengthened ASEAN in terms of tourism destinations and marketing appeal, the disparities in their economic and development status bogged down the funding and administrative processes. Tourism has been an important player, but how does it fare on the balanced scorecard checklist? What role can it play in the post-COVID era? Is another Visit ASEAN Year even possible? Visit ASEAN Year was based on the success of Visit Thailand Year 1987. the greatest marketing extravaganza of its era, which revolutionized global tourism. Thai tourism has grown thanks to huge amounts of money thrown at infrastructure development and marketing campaigns, in addition to the billions invested by the private sector. But why has Thailand never been able to raise the level of its management capabilities to match its tourism marketing genius? Will it be able to narrow this gap in the post-COVID-19 era? The 1990s were a decade of exuberance, globalization, liberalization, deregulation, privatization. These were based on the illusion of an economic nirvana. As it turned out, they fanned the flames of greed and gluttony, leading to high debt, excessive competition, the Asian financial crisis, and the end of the Asian tigers. From the ashes of that crisis, the late King of Thailand, His Majesty Rama IX the Great, conceptualized the sufficiency economy philosophy, which urged the Thai people to steer clear of debt and live within their means. Although the national 5-year development plans have strived, on paper, to mainstream that philosophy, it never really gained much traction at the grassroots. Why? Were the lessons of the Asian financial crisis learned at all, or were they quickly forgotten when the good days returned? In 1982, Time magazine recognized how automation would revolutionize society. In those days, information technology was described as a tool to increase productivity and streamline processes. In recent years, it has become a source of anarchy, disruption, and dislocation beyond compare. While automation has certainly facilitated the growth of travel, how has the absence of any checks and balance mechanisms contributed to its darker side? The rise of xenophobia and nationalism and extremism, violations of privacy and human rights, erosion of democracy, and much more. As all these dangerous and risky trends have a direct impact on tourism, why do travel industry forums avoid discussing them? On August 12, 2022, Her Majesty the Queen Mother will turn 90. Sometime in the not too distant future, Mother Nature will take its course. Other members of the Thai royal family are also well advanced in years. A new generation of successors will emerge. How will this transition impact on the future of Thailand? How will Thai domestic political differences impact on tourism? Next year will mark the 90th year since Thailand became a constitutional monarchy, ending the period of absolute monarchy. Today, how does one describe Thailand's political status? If political and economic stability are the absolute bedrocks of tourism, is the Thai travel and tourism industry prepared to deal with the challenges to come? In 1992, exactly 60 years before becoming a constitutional monarchy, Thailand experienced one of its bloodiest confrontations between a military junta and a civilian uprising. Today, has anything been resolved? Why has Thailand suffered more military coups and attempted coups than any other country in Asia? How have these political upheavals impacted on travel and tourism? Is there any light at the end of that tunnel? Finally, is travel and tourism really an industry of peace? Its foundations were laid in the aftermath of World War II, when it was designed to be a part of the post-war peace-building program. As the industry grew, the peace-building agenda was overtaken by the economic and profitability drivers, which is why all the industry's measurement indicators are always in dollar figures, not the value of peace-building. Today, arms dealers are making a fortune as conflict spreads all over the world. Global leaders are again on the warpath, and the world is dangerously close to repeating all the risky mistakes that led to the 2 world wars, causing widespread death and destruction in the first half of the last century. What are travel and tourism leaders doing to avoid this? Given all the saber rattling, do they seriously think it will not happen? I will conclude with these soul-searching questions. Have the Thai, ASEAN, Asia Pacific and global tourism sectors learned anything from the COVID crisis? In the pre-COVID period, did travel and tourism make the world politically and economically stable, socially, culturally cohesive and environmentally sustainable? Or was it nothing more than a numbers game? Will industry forums have the courage to put these questions on their agendas, or will they remain swept under the carpet? Will the industry really convert a crisis into an opportunity? Will it really build back better? Will it really create a new normal? Or will it just all go back to business as usual? Deep cleaning and deep thinking are now conjoined twins. Thank you for watching. If this lecture gave you food for thought, please click like and subscribe to the Travel Impact Newswire channel. Many more groundbreaking lectures are coming up. Academics, consultants, and anyone else who uses any of the material, please kindly have the professional courtesy to give credit. Thank you and Sawadee Krap.